How are we there, guys? And welcome to another episode of the Smashing Crossbar Podcast. I do apologise for the slight delay. Benny must have not set the alarm and is probably enjoying a cat nap. Not 100% sure what's going on there, but you know, Benny loves a nap. If he could come back as anybody, he'd definitely come back as the Purple Wiggle. There's no question about that. Loves a sleep. Do apologise about the shirt. Friggin' Chatty from Barnsley had all great intentions and ended up getting me a shirt as promised to wear on stream. Unfortunately, the bits you can't see are green, which match the green screen. That explains that one pretty straightforward there. Didn't really think that through. I'll blame Chatty for that, and obviously their major sponsor from last season. There it is there. Can't read it upside down, but I think it's the Edgeworth Sports Bolo or Rec Club. There you go, Rec Club. So yeah, be sure to go check out Barnsley Football Club on Facebook. If you're local, go and check them out. Give them a like, and yeah, friggin' doing it for the local clubs. And as the title suggests tonight, we're doing it for the kids, which we'll get into a little bit shortly. We'll talk about the Jets' result on the weekend. And the other major news, I suppose, is a bit of transfer news. Plenty of transfer news over the last couple of days from the Australian point of view. With Souter and some big signings in the Premier League and around the world just in general. There's been some massive movement. Heaps of loan deals. So many loan deals at the moment going on. It is absolutely crazy in world football. Just trying to fine-tune those little bits and pieces to try and avoid the drop in the big leagues. So, welcome to everyone for jumping on anyway. Big shout-out to Robbie for jumping in the hot seat at absolute freaking minus zero notice. Muchly appreciated again, mate.
No worries, thanks for having me. Yeah, I think we were talking earlier on, and then I got a message going, hey, any chance you can jump on? I'm like, yeah? When?
Mate.
Like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, it was absolute chaos. Trying to get the kids to sleep and shit like that. And then I was talking to Benny not even 40 minutes ago, I don't think. And happy days, we're all sorted, sweet as. And anyway, he'll watch this when he wakes up from his nap. I'm sure, or we'll see him in the chat at some point. So yeah, as we said, guys, as the title suggests, doing it for the kids tonight. The main reason for the title is purely I went down to register my daughter, who will be 7 in a couple of weeks, for this season for soccer. And I was blown away with the fees that you're paying for a 7-year-old. And just, I suppose, what a 7-year-old kid gets for these ridiculous prices, male or female in the kid's sense. It just blew me away compared to what we used to pay and stuff like that. And yeah, I figured we'd sort of dive into that a little bit. Benny, before having his nap, delved into the Victorian side of things and picked up a few fee structures and that from a few different clubs down there, and I've got a few from here. So we're just going to sort of do a bit of a comparison and stuff like that, and get everyone in the chat's thoughts in regards to regos and stuff like that. Like, you know, if you know your senior fees, let us know. It just got me babbled. I don't know what you're like there, Robbie, in South Australia, with some of your junior clubs. You know, what roughly, I said, not expecting you to know off the top of your head, but sort of rough figures of what you're looking at for an under 7. Nothing, no junior development league or any shit like that. Just your basic run-of-the-mill, kick a ball with your mates, sort of soccer. It just got me fathomed. So to put it into, to cut the long story short, went down to local club today, Adamstown Rosebuds, for the guys in Newcastle. My local club. So I'm talking, 30 years ago, when I was 4 or 5 years of age. That's where I started. It's where I've done all my junior football up until I was about 10. I've got my name well, I don't anymore because I went down there today and had a good look, and they've ripped all that shit down. But previously had my name on like the walls and stuff like that, from teams of the decade to leading goal scorers, longest serving players at the club, those sort of titles I had. It's all gone now. But I figured my daughter goes to the local school there. A lot of her girlfriends are going to be playing in that sort of at that club. So the wife said, let's just put her in there and everything else. Righto, no worries. Went down and had a look. Got all the paperwork sorted and everything else. $250 later. Now, again, I don't know how many people in here have got kids or family members with kids and stuff like that who play local football. It blew me away. It honestly blew me away. $250 to register a 7-year-old child to play the world game. Just fathoms me. I don't. And again, some people might sit back and just go, yeah, it's $250. It's nothing. 10 years ago, it may have been nothing. $250. You probably, with everything being cheaper and stuff like that, yeah, whatever. My biggest issue is these kids are 7. That $250 does not include clothing. So to buy a top, so $40 on top of that for a top, $30 for shorts, $20 for socks. And then obviously if you want to buy your polos and your friggin' jumpers and your jackets and all that sort of shit, all goes on top of that. So you're over $300 before they kick a ball. And to me, it just sort of rattled me. I was just like, this is ridiculous. I've had a look around a few of the local clubs and so forth, and Adamstown's, it's up there with some clubs. $200, $250, $150, la-di-da. We know Newcastle's a little bit different. Sorry, not Newcastle. New South Wales is different. I don't know if it's like this with you in South Australia, mate, where we get $100 kids sports voucher. So if any child that's in school, that's enrolled in school, receives a $100 voucher from the government to put towards a schooling fee. So if you've got that and you use that towards your $250, yep, drops it down to $150. But for someone like us, where that's not the only sport my child does, my daughter does nippers, which is where our voucher went this year, just because it was the first thing that sort of come to it. Nippers starts right at the start of the year, and we got the voucher at the start of the year. That's where it went. So, and then obviously you had ballet and la-di-da and all this girly stuff I'm talking now, because I've got 2 girls. On top of that, it's bloody expensive for what they get. What's your thoughts on it, mate? Do you find that expensive? Again, if you don't, let me know. Like, again, I just figured, to me, it just seems a lot. It's a big expense and a big outlay for what they get at 5 to 10.
So it's
where they don't really play.
How many games? How many games does that give them a season?
Sure. There's no competition points. There's nothing like that. There's about 5 people on the pitch at the same time, and that's it. So, what are your thoughts, mate? Anyway, I'll stop rambling. It just sort of really got me peeved this afternoon, and I thought, fuck it, that's the topic. That's what we're going on with today. So, what's your thoughts, mate?
So how many games does that give you a season for her to play?
You're probably looking at about 12 to 14. It's pretty much the standard sort of variant. Again, this is my first year in regards to the junior setup, so I don't know.
Yep.
14 is pretty much a standard structure from, let's say, that I know of, like 12 up. It may be different for the young kids, you know what I mean? I'm not 100% sure, but I would estimate at least 10. Let's go 10. 10 weeks.
Right, so I got shared a podcast clip starring the guest was Bruce Gide.
Yep.
Obviously former Adelaide United champion, plus also on top of that was the director of football for us for a period of time. He's got young kids, right?
Yep.
So he's got 7, 8-year-old kids, and he was saying his fees for one of them was $1,300.
Yeah.
$1,300.
Yep.
Now, what he made was a very valid point, right? Say, for instance, you've got a family of refugees,
Yep.
okay, and they've got, say, 3 or 4 kids.
Yep.
Now, the way that we've always been able to say that, kids in that circumstance can connect is through the World Game, right? Now, if you've got parents who are struggling as it is and are looking for their kids to be able to, connect with the community, be able to have fun with their friends, $1,300 is a lot to ask for.
Yep.
Then on top of that, if you've got, 2, 3 kids, and that's $1,300 each, let's put it this way: the AFL is looking a lot better because the fees for them are about $50 to $100. Why? Because they're heavily subsidised by the government. The 2 things that I'm aware that are probably the issue: one, we have a lower funding threshold than Rowing Australia.
Yep.
All right. We have the highest participation rate as kids in the sport than any other team game in the country. But we are getting funding lower than rowing in Australia.
Yep.
Which is funny if you think about it this way: to become a rower, you're pretty much doing well off already as it is. So to have that level of subsidy is laughable.
Yep.
Secondly, is we've got to look at the structure of how much players are being paid to play for the senior levels.
Yep.
In the National Premier League, State League 1, State League 2. All right. Let's call it spade a spade. Most of these kids are coming into these clubs paying $1,300 fees. You get a team of 13, 14, 15 players. You've covered the players' fees for the year.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And that's going to be your biggest issue. It always is going to be your biggest issue. If you're not getting enough money from the sponsors, who's the next target? You're going to go for the kids because at the end of the day, it's guaranteed income. All right. It's basically a ratio of spending maybe $500 on them for the year, and then the remaining of it's profit into your senior players. So I think the only way you're really going to be able to get around this is, one, more government funding to be able to support and provide subsidisation for kids in sport.
Yep.
And second of all, some form of capping of salary to prevent it from being a situation where, kids are used as coin tokens rather than, let's develop and make them players they are. I've even heard ludicrous things that kids are having to pay to go to talent camps.
Yeah.
That's just ludicrous. I mean, I look at it this way, all right? You look at some of the best players that have come out of Brazil.
Yeah.
Third world country, or highly impoverished country. How are they supposed to, in any way, shape, or form, be able to be noticed and play to the best of their ability if all it's going to get them through there is money?
Yeah.
So again, it's another one of those things where we need to take a really good hard look at our funding model.
Yeah.
Apply a shit ton of pressure on the government in regards to the funding of football in Australia.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Graham Arnold. Never have been. But I'll give the guy props. He really laid it out thick and hard this week when he got the 4-year contract extension.
Yeah.
That his main goal in these next 4 years is putting an absolute fire up the government's butt to give them a reason to make sure that they start funding the game in the way they should be and should have been.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the biggest thing as well is to note that I know it's not so much the club's fault. So it's not me having to dig it in this case, Adams Town, which I've spoken about, because it's not overly their fault. Like, I know I've spoken to some presidents at clubs, and to put it into perspective, there's a junior club in Newcastle, and there's a lot of them in that sort of situation, where they charge $150 for their rego, right? If you've got your $100 voucher, kids voucher, it's $50, right? So that's fantastic. But if you don't, it's then $150. But the club only makes $25 out of that $150. $125 of that goes back to, in our case, Macquarie football, Newcastle football, because we're zoned. So we've got zones in Newcastle that just to cover the massive clubs and area. So $125 goes to the association, $25 goes into the club. So the club I was looking at today or whatever, $150. With that $150 at this club, you get a jumper, like a what do you call it, like a hoodie. You get your shirt, your boots. That's not your boots. Sorry, your shirt, your shin pads, and your socks and your shorts. So you play an outfit, essentially a jumper, and they make $25 off you. The rest goes to the frigging association. To me, it's just crazy. It's just crazy how, we're expected as a country to thrive and grow, but it's just crazy. Like when you're talking JDL and you're talking state leagues and you're talking MPLs and stuff, like to be in those sort of things where you're talking $1,300 and $1,000. Look, does it need to be that high? Possibly not, but at that level, you're expected to put in. You know what I mean? Your parents are forking out $1,000, so you're expected to go to training and get the training that you should be getting for $1,000. So the best coaches that we could possibly deliver in Newcastle. Let's use Newcastle for an example. To teach these kids everything from making triangles, opening your body, using your voice, calling for the ball, running into space. You know what I mean? Turning and rotating your head. All these basic things which you would expect to be taught at that level. At under sevens and stuff like that, at a local kickabout club, even an all age, over 18s, all age, where 9 times out of 10 is either A, no coach, B, no training, and C, they're all friggin' middle age, sort of over, let's say 25, pudgy blokes who don't really want to run anymore, me included, who just want to go around and kick the ball, but yet have to pay nearly. So last year, my rego, right, to play all age, I played state league as well, but I signed on in all age, so just local, no coach, no training, $600. That's the fees that you're expected to pay, that clubs are expecting you to pay for just local all-age kickabout soccer. Now, that doesn't get you any shirts. That doesn't get. It gives you. The club provides you with a full kit, the team with a kit, but it doesn't include your shin pads and your shorts and your shit like that. You might get a train top if you're lucky, and chances are the club, because you're a senior player. Again, the $125 that the associations were making out of the 7-year-olds, they've probably tripled that, nearly doubled that, to make it off the senior guys, and then the club still gets shafted and gets fuck all money into the club to grow, to pay for to pay for facilities upgrades and shit like that, and grounds and stuff like that. So they still get fuck all, but the association gets a massive kick out of it. It's crazy. Let us know what you guys think in the chat. Again, it just sort of, as I said, it sort of ticks me off a little bit. I know Benno done some research, and I believe he's with us. We're just gonna go audio with Benno.
Yeah, I'm here.
Because Robbie's decided to take up his spot.
I've been here for a bit.
Yeah, I seen you put something in the chat a little bit earlier.
Dealing
with the kids.
Doing the traffic.
But yeah, so welcome, mate. Anyway, what was I going to say? But yeah, it just sort of ticked me off, and I know that there's plenty of people out there that sort of are paying these fees and crazy numbers, and I just feel that there should be, if we're paying that much money, the clubs should be getting a lot more out of it. Because I don't know what it's like. Well, I've been down in Melbourne and seen some of the clubs down there. Some of the facilities in Melbourne, even, and the fees are nearly double compared to what they are in Newcastle.
Disgusting.
6-7-year-olds, and they're paying nearly $400.
Yeah.
For Rego.
The cheapest that I came across was the local club in the area that you and I both lived in here, which was under 7s to under 11s, 2 training sessions at a fixtured match a week was $250.
Yeah.
Which, alright, not too bad. I understand part of it's got to go to the federation. That's all well and good. It's got to cover things like the club's public liability insurance and things like that, which is a massive cost. But where does I mean $250 to be fair in that sort of regard don't go a long way.
Yeah.
Especially if you let's go devil's advocate, half of it's split between the club and the association. So that's $125 that the club is getting per player. 50 to 80 of that may be in public liability insurance per child, because they would have to have a certain minimum, I would go million threshold in relation to that. It's probably somewhere in the realms of 2.5 millions worth of public liability.
Yep.
It pays for probably not the kits, but the washing of the kits every week. The club would probably have their own kits that they rotate through. They wouldn't be whiz bang or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, that no bag, no training kits, no nothing. Like used to the ground, I don't know what it was like back in the days, but oranges aren't as cheap now as what they used to be for halftime when we were kids. But that was the cheapest that I found. The most expensive in Melbourne of the couple of clubs that I did look into, and I looked into about 15, 20 clubs and just picked a few out, was out in the northern suburbs. Team that's, I think they're NPL 2 now, or State League 1. They're not like top end NPL.
Yeah.
But they're a well-known club, and that's Essendon. Sorry to throw them under the bus, but Essendon Royals.
Yep.
Under 6 and under 11s, 2 training and a fixtured game a week. $700. $800 if you're a new player to the club.
Oh.
There's an extra $100,
wow,
making that a total of $800 for a child between the ages of under 6 and under 11s. That is, pardon my French, is fucking disgusting.
Yeah. And the biggest thing is, as you said, Ben, like I get that there's all these costs from the associations that they need to pay for and everything else.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, it's not cheap. I get that. I do. Like Chatty's just put in here, his local club, Barnsley, again, repping the Barnsley stuff at the moment. But he's saying that they're all age zone league and over 35s, so the seniors.
Yeah.
He charges, the club charges them $370.
Yeah.
And the club makes $50 off that.
Yeah.
The rest
I did
goes
quickly
back.
look into, because whilst I was looking, I did see a lot of their fee structures are like, A, they're not very well broken down, but B, on the same page they would have for everything else. Essendon Royals, I couldn't remember what league they were in. I think it might have been NPL 2 or State League 1.
No, regardless, doesn't matter. We're talking juniors.
Their full seniors starts at $3,800 a year.
Yeah.
Nearly $4,000 a year.
Yeah, and unfortunately, when you're playing in those sort of top tier leagues and stuff like that,
yeah, it's expensive.
It's expensive.
The club needs to pay the competition to enter into, pay the federation to play in the competition.
I know for a fact that the NPL clubs, just to play in the competition, is close to $100,000 just to enter their team into that competition. Like, it's expensive.
Yeah. Same thing.
But as I said earlier, but I don't know if you missed
I think I saw it years ago. For a club to enter into the Australia Cup, FFA Cup, it's like $1,200 or something.
Yeah. Melton, I think, paid $2,000 last year. State League 5. But as I said, I was saying to Robbie earlier on that, I said, like, the seniors is a different kettle of fish. That's why I was, I'm not too stressed about the senior sort of thing, because what comes with that is sponsorships, player sponsorships, and
Yeah, a lot of the stuff is
to
offset.
cover that sort of cost. But the juniors, the 6 and 7-year-olds, these guys can't play. They don't even, as I said, there's not even scores. They're not even playing for a victory. They go on, they freaking kick a few goals and shit like that, and then everyone walks off the pitch and goes, "Oh, who won? Nobody."
Yeah, I have my own thoughts.
You know what I mean? Like,
guys.
6 or 7's, I get it. They're learning the game and stuff like that. It's fine, but I'm talking. This is
not when we were younger.
No, of course not. Absolutely not. But again, this is eventuating into the low teens. 14 years of age, playing half a pitch. Still, not full pitch football at like 13, 14. I coached the under 13s.
I was playing full pitch.
Exactly.
So we've got under 12s at the moment doing I think it's
Thanks, Benno.
9-a-side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which isn't too bad. But yeah, anything 13s and over, full pitch, interchange with 11-a-side.
Yeah, we were at I think it was 10s, we were full pitch. That's full 11.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then under 11s was full pitch, 11-a-side with offside.
12s and 13s still don't play the offside rule. It's if it's blatantly offside and it's old mate sitting down in the goal mouth waiting for the ball, the referee will probably call that. But at the same time, he doesn't have to, because they're not. They don't technically play the offside rule. Same with throw-ins. When the back foot comes up, they just play on. You know what I mean? Like, to me, it's 7s and 8s. That's what you are teaching the children. That's
right. You're breeding.
That's what
breeding
under 7s and 8s is for. It's not to friggin' so much worry about the skills and the dribbling skills and shit like that. It is the basics. If you stand here, Tommy, you're offside. You need to be back here behind this bloke. No, mate, we need to keep your feet down. I'll hold your feet for you. Throw the ball. I coached the under 13s in Melbourne just before I moved back here 2 years ago, or a year ago, roughly. And I spent a whole training session, not all the whole, let's say 30 minutes out of an hour and 20-minute session doing throw-ins, because they were 13 and foul throw. I'm like, how is this even possible? Like, if you've never kicked the ball, never kicked the ball before, and that, fair enough. But if you've been playing since day dot, what the fuck?
I'm going to scare the living darts out of you. I've got under 18s that still can't throw a ball properly.
I'm sure.
A-League players that still foul throw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
he was a prime suspect for that on the weekend.
Yeah, I think there was a foul throw called in the A-League about a week or two ago as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Look, let's be honest with you. Anything under 12 should be learning the core basics, all right?
Yeah.
And if anything, that's where we should be having the most talented coaches to make sure that we are getting the basics right. Because if you're not getting the basics right, by the time you hit your under 13s, 14s, 15s, and all the way up to your 18s, all coaches are doing are trying to train out the bad traits. They're not getting the focus on enhancing you.
Yeah.
They're trying to get all the bad shit removed from you so they can actually make you a half-decent footballer. That's why we're getting, parents paying for the nose for these football academies to be able to get it done. Like, don't get me wrong, I've got nothing against football academies because, we've got a couple in Adelaide who are run by former Adelaide United players.
Absolutely.
But on the other hand, if your kid is having a $1,300 registration fee just to play for the club that they're playing at, I would want to know that the coaching staff are making sure that my kid is walking out like the next Messi. And unfortunately, as a referee, that's what I'm seeing coming from the parents. They're frustrated.
Yeah.
Why isn't my kid becoming the next Messi? Why isn't my kid the next, Ronaldo? Why am I spending all this money on my kid just kicking the ball around and not being able to play? I mean, God forbid your kid's sitting on the bench for week in, week out. Yeah. As a parent, I've seen a number of times where a parent's gone up and absolutely chewed out the coach for the half-time talk because their kid hasn't even had a minute on the ground all year, and yet they're paying exactly the same amount of money as the other parents. So, I don't know. Again, as I said, it requires, I think, a really hard look from the ground up.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing as well is I think Enigma, welcome Enigma as well. I know you've been pretty vocal in the chat today. If you haven't subscribed or liked, please do so if you like the content. As you said there, this is for community level. JDL level is different. My cousin plays JDL level and he's in the under 11s, right? And honestly, the game has just gone so soft. The coaching levels have just gone so soft. The game itself is just run by friggin' it's I don't know. It's absolutely ridiculous. I can remember a time when I was friggin' under 10s and shit like that, and if there was a bloke on that side who wasn't good enough, he wouldn't get game time. Whether he was the coach's son or friggin' whatever it was, if they could put another bloke out there who was better, they would. And he would get limited game time, under 10s, 11s, etc. Nowadays, they do that in JDL, Junior Development League. No one, it's like people are too afraid to just admit the truth and just say to their parents that unfortunately, he's not going to cut the mustard. Thanks for coming. Thanks for your time. It's like we'll just add him in somewhere. It's $1,200 we're going to get off another parent. It's more money into the friggin' situation. We'll just run it.
There's that fine balance between being able to, show the parent that they're getting their, $1,200 worth of,
Yeah, but the problem is
money
now,
worth, but they're going to want to see their kid play, and then at the same point, the parents are also. I don't like to do this, but sometimes the parents are also part of the problem because they think they know better.
Yeah, Ben, the problem is that the coaches and that will run the player because he's part of the team. Everyone has to have a run. You're sitting there with friggin' 15 minutes to go or whatever it is, and you got 20 minutes. You're 2-1 down or something like that, and you've had your rotations and shit like that. Righto, Johnny, come on, mate. You got to come off. I've got to let friggin' Tomo on here. And he's Johnny, the friggin' leading goal scorer of the season, friggin' best bloke you've got. He comes off in a huff and a puff, going, "What the hell's this shit?" He goes, "Well, mate, friggin' everyone needs a run, and unfortunately, it's your time to rotate and come off." They do it, because it's, it's just everyone needs a go, and I get that at a junior level, because if you're playing at a junior level where you're not playing for sheep stations and you're not spending your thousands of dollars or whatever it is in the junior development leagues, fair enough. Absolutely, everybody gets a rotation and whatever. But if you're playing in JDL, my cousin's no exception. Like my cousin could play. He could score goals in junior level for fun. And he stepped up to the JDL competition there, and it's not that he's not shit. He hasn't got interest. There's just no interest. There's no desire to go any further. There's no passion to want to get up in the morning and absolutely, I need to go training. When I was his age, I was down the park after school every day. I found a wall and a ball, I was happy. I found a wall and friggin' even if there was a block, those brick walls, and there was a cubicle behind it, I'd sit there and practice free kicks and try and get in between that gap after school, before training. I lived and breathed it. I wanted more. I couldn't get enough. The whistle would go.
I was the same, and I was the same, and I only turned out lower than bang average.
But yeah, so and he's not crash hot, and I've told my mother to pull him out because you're wasting money. He's just not interested. He's better off going back to the local.
The drive's going to be there.
Absolutely. He's better off going back to the local league, dominating, and getting that, and hopefully rejuvenating, getting that drive again, going, "Oh, this league's shit."
Yeah, where's the challenge?
Absolutely, but he's not up to the challenge. But even then, the coaches aren't up to the challenge. I took him down for a session just before Christmas, and I said, "Righto, mate." I said, "You're going to work your ass off. I don't know what you've been doing at training or whatever, but you're going to work your ass off here." I'm like, "Righto." I said, him and 2 mates and a ball. I said, "Righto, guys, let's go." 2 of his JDL mates. I'm like, "Righto, guys, let's go. We're going to do rondos." And they all looked at me as if to say, "What?"
What?
I'm like, "Rondos. We're going to do some rondos." And he's like, "What's that?" I'm like, "It's like the basic of football. It's three blokes on the outside, 1 bloke in the middle. It's just freaking moving from side to side, corner to corner." receiving the ball and the bloke trying to get the ball off you. Like, it's basic stuff.
Piggy in the middle.
And there was a few other little bits of basic sort of drills where I just went, and they're just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I've never heard of that. What the hell are they teaching you? These are basics. The most simple things. I can't even think of what it was at the moment, but it's sort of just...
I mean, as a parent, you've also got to sit there as well, and it helps as well being a parent with, being raised in that sort of background as well, and going through it myself. You sort of sit there as a parent and going, what am I getting for my $1,200 worth?
But that's
what's my child getting for their $1,200 worth?
And that's what I sort of said to my said to my mother and shit like that, because I'd go down there and watch him, and I'm just like, where's the warm up? Where's the I don't know, it fathoms me. Anyway, Robbie said comment of the stream. What happened there, Robbie? What'd you find, mate?
Enigma said your child isn't becoming the next Ronaldo or Messi because they're taught to play backwards every second touch.
Not far from the truth.
Or if you're playing for Graham Arnold.
Oh, fucking don't even get me started.
Good old Arnie Ball.
That's news I wish I didn't see this week, but anyway.
Is he in 11s now going into 12s?
Well.
No, it's a huge thing, and it's something that's been happening over the space of 5 to 10 years
Decades.
now. It's just been steadily climbing, and I read a great article. One of the local newspapers here in Victoria did a massive thing on it in 2020 where they compared, I think it was 25 different clubs or something in 2020, and I think the headline of the article was are kids being priced out of the world game?
Yep.
Yeah,
and it was a resounding fuck yes, they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Enigma, he plays for Adamstown, mate, and he's going into the 11s this year. But again, he plays up all the time. He plays 10s and 11s. But that's the thing, though. Like, he plays up. He plays up a grade, but his work rate is just fucking atrocious. He won't run. He won't jog back. He won't go back to help. He just wants the ball at his feet up front all the time. And that's all good if you're 34 and have put in the hard yards like myself. Yeah. But he's young. He's 11. He's fit as shit. He can run up and back as much as time as you want. He just doesn't want to. He just goes, I'll wait here. The goals are down this end. Why am I running back?
Yeah. But that's social conditioning from watching the modern game, the modern professional game now.
Yeah.
Because he turns around and goes, well, it's good enough for Messi and Ronaldo to do, so why shouldn't I do it?
Yeah. So, look, at the end of the day, it just sort of, it got me thinking in regards to just fees and shit like that, and how every club's different. You know what I mean? So, like, as I said, I left last year and paid $600 for my fees. I could go to Barnsley, as Chatty said there, and pay $370. You know what I mean? So it's nearly half the fees.
What we played Sunday League those couple of years ago. It was like $280 or something, and that wasn't even.
What was that? Oh, that was that freaking satellite.
That wasn't even an official FFE sanctioned competition. That
exactly,
that was an offshoot to make it.
Yeah, it's like a churchy league.
That was a breakaway competition because they went FFV are too fucking expensive.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, satellites. Yeah, that was about $250, $300 or some shit like that.
Something called Vic Soccer.
Yeah, Vic Soccer. That's what it was. Yeah. I don't know. It's just crazy. It's just crazy money, if you ask me. We've had blokes on, like guys on in the stream and so forth. We were talking to, who was it? Oh, fuck! It was a while ago now. Trying to think. Ex-Jet. He was over in Norway, coaching. Oh shit.
Oh. Not Carlton.
The bald-headed bloke.
Casey Weirman.
Casey Weirman was on here, he was saying that, he's over in Norway and shit like that, and his young bloke plays or whatever it is, and his fees are like 800 Australian dollars or whatever it is, and their tournaments and shit are overseas. Like, he travels around Europe to play in their friggin' tournaments. And it just sort of fathoms you, Like,
Viduka, I watched an interview a couple of
his interview with
about 2 years ago. When Viduka was saying the same thing when he had his young fella at friggin' Dynamo Zagreb.
Yeah, the COVID special with him and Schwartz and all that shit. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, it's just.
And it's the same thing. They pay a couple of thousand, I think it was euros a year. But they're going, they've got like European competitions that they travel for, like.
That's right.
For pre-season, like in pre-season, and then at the end of the bloody season, plus a full season. Like they got 12. That's 12 months of football round the clock.
Yeah. But yeah.
So,
yep.
Going back to when I was saying about in regards to the government funding, I'll give you a prime example. I was trying to find this article I read a while ago back. So this was from 2019, and the Australian government had promised $131 million in funding from either party during the campaign, which was double that of football, which was promised $66 million.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, mind you, this is the same company who has basically been able to receive funding from just their $4.5 billion for broadcasting rights, which is over a massive period of time.
Yeah.
So you tell me why a sport that has the highest participation rate in Australia is getting not even half of that money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. You look at the ratio of government level funding versus the ratio of kids that participate in the sport. Soccer/football itself is well lower than what it should be.
Massive.
Yeah, it's massively low. Is Chatty in the chat? I think because he's president. He's the president of Barnsley. If anyone doesn't know, but as I said beforehand, guys, go and give him a like on Facebook and so forth. Great local club. If you're in that sort of area and shit like that, get your kids in there. As I mentioned before, $150 at maximum. If you haven't used your kids' voucher yet, $50. So it's probably it's great value for money. And again, the club gets nothing. $25. It's absolutely ludicrous. And it just sort of fathoms me that then the club have got to go friggin' pleading and friggin' writing long novels and essays and shit like that to try and friggin' get funding for structures and friggin' new goals and that, or they've got to friggin' try and do the shit themselves and try and fundraise and shit like that to try and get something done. Because it's
again, you're trying to fundraise
basket.
from those that are already in difficult socioeconomic positions because of the pandemic over the past 2 to 3 odd years. Monies aren't there. Businesses aren't willing to offer up sponsorships like they used to because they don't have the money to do it because they're still being hit by the pandemic.
Absolutely.
And
So
on top of that, inflation.
exactly.
Yeah, and then you got cost of living inflation. On
Exactly.
Top of all that.
So I'll leave you with this one, which was the final straw for me when we walked out of Adamstown today. Chatty, turn your ears up because this is a classic. So the wife's looking for a club, right? She's no professional. She played AFL her whole life, so she just wants to friggin' keep fit, meet some new friends and stuff like that from Melbourne. So she's always looking to meet new girlfriends and stuff like that. She's looking for a club. All ages fine. They've started out a new competition here in Newcastle called the Over 30s League, which they're trying to get up and running, which I think is fantastic. Mainly for obviously mums and stuff like that, just to get away from the kids and their husbands and shit for a good hour and a half or whatever it is.
There's a similar one down here now.
Yeah, and
it's called Soccer Mums.
Yeah, I did see that through Phoenix's Facebook page and stuff like that, which is good. It's great. It is a little bit higher competition than that. I think that's real basic, just sort of a basic kick.
That is.
But yeah, this is a full competition sort of thing. But Chatty, hold your seat, son. Registration for over 30s basic kickabout $465.
It's the same for your over 35s, which is starting to kick over here.
100
Over 35s was
Mate.
a concept Josh couldn't fathom when he first come to Melbourne. I remember talking to him about it. He's like, "Oh, what about your over 35s leaving?" And I'm like, "Huh?"
Yeah.
5-6 years ago when Josh came down to Melbourne, that shit didn't fucking exist here. Now it runs rampant. Like every second club that you come across has got an over 35s team. But it's the same thing as well. The cheapest I think I saw over 35s here was like $450 a year.
Yeah. It just fathoms me. Yeah.
So is that inclusive of paying for things like referees?
I would assume
I would assume the referees and shit like that are included in that, like in your fees and all your, as we said.
I would assume so.
But again, you still have to purchase all your
So-
gear and shit on top of that.
Yeah, you got to buy your own gear. You got to buy your own kit.
Yeah, as I said, the shirt.
Look,
might be disappointing.
even as a referee, I've got to pay fees, right? So I pay
Yeah.
Football Australia. I've got to pay my own. I've got to pay my own kits and basically all of my equipment.
Yeah.
But the good thing is because I'm compensated volunteer, it's not taxable. So
At the same point, though, but you're a business too. A lot of that you'd be able to write off on tax. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No.
He has are included there. You go. That's if the referees turn
Well,
up.
how does that work?
It's compensated volunteering.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So I'm volunteering my time,
Correct.
and I'm being given money to compensate for the time it's taken.
Yeah.
So for me, right, that's not an issue. I don't mind paying, my extra couple of $100 for my refereeing gear because I'll make that back in a couple of games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. If you think about it this way, if you've got 12 games a week in say right, so say for instance you're doing NPL in South Australia, we have 12 teams on the table, so we've got 6 games a week, right? So there's 3 referees a game, plus you've probably normally got a match assessor, then on top of that you've got a match coordinator, then on top of that you're going to have coaching during the week, you've got physio trainers, the whole works. So I understand where my fees go to.
Yeah.
And on top of that, any game that I do referee, I also pay a 10% grassroots levy. All right, so any monies I make, I have a 10% levy that goes back to grassroots football to be able to make sure that we can provide for that. So there's a lot of money going around, and I'm hoping it's there for the right reason. That's all I'll say.
Well, I've got a question for you, and this is the one thing that I've always thought about, and I've had this conversation with a couple of mates who are in the coaching game and referee, another one, or one of them that's in a refereeing game. And I've always thought, and I don't want it's like in South Australia, 'cause it doesn't happen here, which I feel that it should at pretty much every association, where the club as a whole, so let's go, we're not talking NPL clubs, we're talking junior basic stuff. Each club has to have I feel that each club should have a somebody on the grounds, so like a what do you call them, like a freaking match official sort of thing, who just sort of keeps the peace with the parents and la-di-da and stuff like that, but at the same time have done their referees course, just your junior referees course, not your freaking not nothing drastic.
Yeah, basic laws of the game.
Because let's be honest,
bottom level.
9 times out of 10, the games that have been played at junior level are being refereed by mum and dad, who have stepped in to friggin' just lend a hand and shit like that. Who know absolutely nothing.
Wild Man used to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. I've done it. And again, who know the basics of the game, yes, but don't know the way things should be run for, let's say, that age group or whatever. I just feel that there should be somebody at the club that you're at who's done that course, and we need a volunteer to referee the friggin' under 8s this morning. Yeah, mate, I'll put my hand up, no dramas at all. Cool. That official who has done that course, just someone like that who can easily go up to him and go, mate, sweet as, thank you very much for stepping in, I muchly appreciate it. Just a couple of things, if you didn't know, we're not playing offsides, we're not doing this, or we are doing this, we're not doing that. There's no real cards or anything like that. Just to give them a little bit of guidance. Because there's nothing worse. It doesn't matter whether it's Joe Blow out there friggin' refereeing them or it's an official referee. If the parents see something that they feel should have been given, or you've given a free kick and it shouldn't have been because, hang on, what the fuck? He's given a free kick for that. We don't play that shit at this level. Well, fucking easy, mate. I don't even know the rules. I'm just sort of come in because if you know them, mate, you take the whistle. You know what I mean? It's just more of a.
That was always my greatest. That was always my greatest response when I ref.
Absolutely, I've seen.
You can do. Josh has seen me do it. You think you can do it? You saw me walk to a parent and go, "You think you can do better? Here's the whistle."
Literally.
Let's have at it. Oh no. Then shut up.
This is my favourite response. Here you go.
I did. Josh watched me referee a women's.
Absolutely.
Josh watched me referee a women's game and do that to a parent. Go, you think you can do better? Here it is. I stopped the game and went, here's the whistle. You think you can do better? Off you go.
Yep.
Oh no. Good. Then shut up.
I say that to some players. I say, "Oh, great, you want to become a referee, do you?" No. Then I'm like, "So what are you doing here? Why are you telling me how to do my job when you obviously can't do yours because you're losing 5-0?"
And to be fair, Josh and I looked at this many years ago, and I'll make the same joke now. Half the players, Robbie, that you're reffing in NPL and stuff like that, half of them would probably fail the basic laws of the game test. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah. But do you know?
I can neither confirm nor deny it.
That's a yes.
But do you sort of
yes?
But is it? Am I sort of right in saying that I just feel that every club should have somebody, whoever, I don't know. You nominate somebody.
I think a lot of clubs try to.
I'm sure they do, and I'm sure. And as I said, I'm not saying that it's. Again, life's difficult, life's hard and shit like that, and it's hard enough to get a freaking group of committee members and shit at a club and la-di-da. So I get I get that it's not going to happen at every club, but I just sort of feel that it doesn't happen at any club. It's just something that just, I mean, sweet as, we need a volunteer to friggin' go do a referee's course. It's paid by, the FFA should be fucking paid for it, but anyway. Friggin'
for grassroots, it should be compensated.
Or it should be a free thing.
To be completely honest with you, it shouldn't be an issue for them just jumping on and doing the basic laws of the game course. It's free. Yeah. It's on the FFA.
Well, there you go.
It's on the FA website.
Well, there you go.
It's only if you want to start becoming a referee that you pay for the level 4 course, and even the level 4 course is heavily subsidised. They normally chuck you a bunch of free stuff to have a go at, and they guide you through the first year. So what I'm enjoying at the moment is I've got a lot of younger referees coming through our system at the moment who are players who are still playing and realising, hang on a second, I can make a bit of cash on the side, doing the thing I love, and I'm not slogging my guts out for Maccas for 6 hours getting yelled at by some guy who's got more pimples than brains, right? Yeah. So for me, it's great. It's given me an opportunity to actually referee alongside some of the players I've refereed in the past. And the one thing I'm loving hearing is them coming back to me going, this is a lot harder than I ever gave you guys credit for.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah, it is.
It's for me, for me, it's just something that I just feel that, we need to protect the people that are sort of coming in there and just going, yeah, righto, we haven't know. And again, it happens here all the time. I'm sure it does in every other league around Australia and that, where, as someone mentioned before, the referees just don't even turn up. You know what I mean? And it just happens.
Refereeing at any level is a tough gig.
Absolutely, and we know there's not enough of them. That's granted, and that's why we get put in that situation where, we were assigned a referee, but he's not here. And there's
I reckon that happened for our Sunday league. I reckon we only have had 2 actual referees.
Absolutely, and granted, it's you've been assigned a referee, but chances are he's been frigging taken off that at late notice to go referee probably a higher grade or whatever.
Friggin' State 4, State 5 West or something.
Yeah, and they're not going to tell us about it. It's just going to happen. It's just going to go, no one's here. It's 9 o'clock. Well, it's 12 o'clock. We're meant to kick off at 12.
Yeah, there's that too, Matty.
No one's here.
That doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
So now we need a referee. Yep, no, I'm going to do it, mate. No dramas at all. And again, the amount of people that every time I've done it and that, where we've had the club referee and shit like that, vice versa, whether we're home or away. Yeah. Guys, I'm just here to friggin' keep the peace. I'm not here to friggin', I'm not a referee. I'm not here to friggin' get into friggin' an argument or any shit like that. I'll call what I see.
As a referee, it doesn't matter who it is. I don't care who wins or loses.
Yeah, but I still feel there needs to be a bit more protection.
100%. And they've said it there. They lose so many referees a year. Number one reason is abuse. 100%. Because it's coming from the players. It's coming from the frigging staff of the club. It's coming from the bloody parents. They're competent from all sides. The referee is the most thankless job.
Oh, absolutely.
I had a 17-year-old referee last year on the phone with me for an hour and a half, helping him write up a match report for an under-13s game. where he was abused by a player, by a coach, and by a parent for a correct decision.
Yeah, there it is. There's the kicker.
In his first game as a centre referee.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
These are the same people who then turn around and go, "We don't have enough referees." This is why.
Yeah.
This is why we don't have enough referees.
That's right.
Because
Abuse is massive.
You push them away.
Exactly.
I don't cop a lot of abuse. I cop a bit of banter, and I'm absolutely fine with that because I like to give it as good as I get it. Right? But if I get any form of abuse or any form of dissent on that field, you can guarantee I'm pulling that game up quicker than they can blink. Cards are coming out, and if I need to, match reports are coming in.
Yeah.
I won't have it.
I think there is a rule here in Victoria as well where you are actually, as a referee, able to card parents.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't have that, unfortunately. We have ground stewards.
Yeah.
Who will go over and remove them from the field. We can then put in a match report towards the club, and then the club will offer their own sanctions on top of whatever the match committee, rules. So there are ramifications, but you got to look at it this way as well. Some of these parents,
they're armchair referees.
They're worse than dance mums, man.
I've lived in both worlds, mate. Be careful how you word that.
Soccer.
No, okay. I'm going to tell you right now. I grew up in a gymnast family.
Yeah.
All right. Crazy Romanians.
Oh.
That's all I'll put.
All right. Soccer referees aren't given enough
that with
power
absolute conviction.
in the moment of the game, like the authority given to basketball or rugby referees is comparatively absolute. It's the referee. Yeah, we've got the referee here. He probably doesn't get enough power. There probably isn't enough power in his whistle and friggin' shit like that. The biggest power he has in regards to that is, I suppose, just standing up to what he believes. And if he believes it's not on, well, fuck yeah, I'm not. And that's what, obviously, as you said, that's where the referees, that's their power. They go, fuck this. The money's not worth it. I mean, like, a majority of them aren't doing it for the friggin' paycheck. They're doing it because they love it, and they can't kick a ball for shit, and they'll probably own up to it.
Those who can't do teach.
Exactly, and I've had heaps of referees like that. And he goes, mate, you're there because you can kick a ball and fucking play. I'm here because I can't do that shit. And I'm sure friggin' you would be in the same situation where you either A, can't do what I do, or B, which is probably the right one, don't want to be anywhere near the fucking whistle. Which is probably and I'm like, yep, do not want to be near the whistle. Don't want to touch it. I don't want your job. You can shove it. And we'll let's just play football. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And
that's the only sort of main power I feel that the referees do have is, as you said, just standing up to it and just going, fuck this. I don't have time for this shit, mate.
But there's very little in the way of awareness, though. So, from a referee at a referee.
In saying that on the reverse, and it happened to me 2 years ago. Remember that, Benny, when I got suspended as a coach?
Was that the same time as? Yes.
Even though I remember hearing that.
Yes, I remember this.
At the same time,
I do remember this.
At the same time, and I get the reasoning behind it, is purely, as we've stated many times on this podcast so far, there's not enough referees. But the referees, I got suspended for like 3 weeks or something like that for doing nothing wrong. I honestly didn't do anything wrong at all. He just a 3 week ban. Well, yeah, they didn't eject me as Robbie said, and which is what happens. He filled in a match report. It went to friggin' FFV or whatever it is. They sent it out to the club, and the club's virtually like, the FFV are virtually like, you need to deal with this all weekend for you. Our dealing with it is the club will be fined X amount and whatever, or you can deal with it and come back to us with a report. So the club banned me for 3 games or whatever it was. Totally with me. I was lucky enough to have the president of the club at the game, which fucking helped. And she said to me straight up, she's like, you did nothing wrong here. This is bullshit. But if we fight it, it's just not worth it. Just sit out. Don't worry about it. But at the same time, he should have been written up and he should have been punished somehow because he had no idea.
They had to look like they were seen to have dealt with the problem.
Well, the president replied back to him and said, "We've dealt with it with the matter of a 3-game suspension for our coach and assistant, but we also believe that the referee needs to be reassessed and so forth and gone through the rules again." Again, nothing replied back to us, and we didn't get a confirmation.
No, you won't, because if FFP's response would have been, "Oh well, we don't have enough as it is," so that's
that's exactly what it is. But at the same time, you know, they sort of should be accounted for if they need to be sort of reassessed. What's the go with that, Robbie? Do you guys get what's the go with the reassessment and shit like that? Like, if you guys don't want to go up another level, and you guys are just happy at whatever it is, let's go level 6.
We get assessed, we get coached, we get match reports in regards to our reviews. So at the moment, like my performance, I have this really cool app on my watch called Ref6, which basically tracks all my stats. It tracks my positioning, it tracks my heat map, tracks my kilometers, my peak heart rates. And I can also record the whole match report on my watch as I go along. So the scores, substitutions, cards, the whole works. So for me, I have a really, really good tool there, which if I need to, I can whip out my phone and show my coaches at training, or I can show them when I'm getting coached at the game as to this is where my positioning's been, this has been my decisions, these have been my cautions and send-offs. And from that, I get a lot of good feedback. When it comes to, so I'll give a prime example. I had an absolute howler of a grand final for a community game last year, and I looked over at my assistant referee. It was a lob-in from a free kick just outside the box, ricochets off the goal, top post, and attackers scored the goal. I've looked over at my AR for confirmation of if it's a goal or not, and they've confirmed it's all clear. So basically had players screaming their lungs off saying she was in an offside position from the initial kick, to which I said, well, that's not what I've been advised. All clear, all clear, all clear. And they won the grand final by 1-0. So next week, I get the Vivo footage coming through from my head coach going, hey, can you explain your decision here? All right. I watched the footage, and I shit you not, she was at least a good 2 meters in front of the second last defender.
Oh, nice.
So she was well offsides. So I've taken that feedback. I've turned around to my boss and I said, look, yep, this is why I've made the call. This is what I've done. You can see in the footage where I've gone across to the AR to confirm and also sell the decision. And from what I can see, this was a clear and obvious error, not only on the part of the AR, but myself. Yeah. And they've gone, great, you've made the right call in this, and it's good that you've been able to take the feedback and take the advice. So at the end of the day, as a referee, you need to be able to learn to develop your skills. Yeah. I think what we also have an issue of sometimes is, we're heavily reliant on we're reliant on the spirit of the game.
Yep.
And sometimes we need to take into consideration that the law of the game also needs to adapt in the way of our thinking. Sometimes we don't agree with rule changes, let's be honest. But at the end of the day, if we're going to be refereeing that game, we need to make sure we're refereeing it to the law of the game, because otherwise, we're causing chaos by throwing caution into the wind. So, absolutely. Yeah, as I said, it's a big debate. I work with some fantastic referees in South Australia, and I feel the referees I've worked with in the past, and I actually clocked over my 500th game about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, hang on a second. I think I've got something on. Oh, there it is.
It takes a strong referee to admit when they've made a mistake, though. A lot of them won't.
You know what? We're human.
That's
we
right.
make mistakes. And you know what? I've had better respect from a player where I've turned around and said, yeah, like, I absolutely balls that one up, and I'm really sorry. Because they're like, yeah, no, it's fine. Thanks for at least making it clear. Rather than going, you know what? No, I haven't made a mistake. Here's a yellow card for questioning my authority.
Yeah.
I'd rather be honest and open, because as I say to him on the pitch, I'll tell you why I've made a decision. You may not agree with it, but at the end of the day, I've made a call from what I've seen.
Yeah.
What else can you do?
Yeah, exactly right. Welcome, Brownie, as well. Not that I got to mention, he's only after you.
Yeah, he's
Enigma.
He's probably wondering how good I am after my tooth. I had my first lot of solids this evening, so.
Good on you, mate.
Oh.
Enigma, what do you? Whereabouts do you referee? What competition? You just local, or do you in the state league, or whoever you are? If I know who you are and it's just your weird YouTube name, let me know, because I've got no fucking idea who that is. If I probably know.
I will say, Enigma's been dropping some heat tonight.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's good. It's what I love. It's what we need though in the chat.
It's a conversation that needs to be had.
Oh, New South Wales. Yeah, right. That's good. It's good. Yeah, no, it's good, but that's what we want. We want people in the chat. It's what's keeping us here after the hour. As I said, we're still talking about it. I wanted to touch on the Jets' unbelievable victory on the weekend. Let's be honest.
That came out of nowhere.
If memory serves me from
Thanks,
last
Matty.
week, you were sweating bullets for that game.
I was, because somebody said
really
in the
was.
chat. I think it might have been Matt said in the chat. Oh, we're gonna win like 3-0. I'm like, nah, fuck it, nah, not gonna happen.
Yeah, well done, Matt. You got that wrong. It was 4-0.
No, Jet supporter, the ever pessimist,
How are you, Mary?
and I'm one of the optimistic Jet supporters.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's more the fact that Brisbane are they're just been.
It just came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I don't know.
weird.
Maybe somebody put some cocaine in their breakfast or something, and I don't know. They had a good night or something.
So anyway, that's pretty much. We'll get onto the Jets side of things now and so forth. But it just sort of threw me a bit. You know, $250 for a 7-year-old to sort of play. I wouldn't even call it soccer. As I said, it is what it is. Mini roos, where to me it's balls. It's skills, learning. You know what I mean? You're not playing for competition points or anything like that. I think we should be doing absolutely everything we can to encourage more people to get into the world game. And as they grow older and so forth, the fees might go up and shit like that, but not as radical as it is. And just as I said, the differences between clubs, like I just don't understand, because I believe, again, I'm not 100% sure, but I would gather that Macquarie Football and Newcastle Football and all these associations would be charging the same fee to every club, and then it's up to the club to pay to charge on top of that what they feel they can get from the players. And it's just, as I said, there's just massive differences everywhere. You know what I mean? $370 from Barnsley, roughly just under $600 at bloody Minmai, where I played last year in the State League.
The problem is the gap between
It's just crazy.
the cheapest and the most expensive. It's almost like there's your baseline. Whatever, as long as you're covering the cost over the baseline, you can charge basically whatever you want.
But for the same
Sort of thing.
the same learning curve, the same shit.
Even if they bring in
it's the
something
same.
like cap price fees,
yeah,
would not be a bad idea.
Absolutely.
You know what they need? Afterpay.
After pay, zip pay, fucking hum, fucking get on it.
That needs another one. That
Not a bad idea.
was good. That's
Lay-by.
Yeah, well, a lot of clubs do monthly installments anyway.
Monthly
or
installment,
fortnightly
or
installments,
they
because
do.
They
but
know
they
do,
early.
but they do, but they don't.
Before the season, it has to be paid before the season. So but
Yeah,
that's
which
it.
is fair enough.
But at the same time, doing those sort of prepayments and everything else is good. Which, as I said, most clubs do it, as you said, and it gets people signed into the club early, which is what you want. You know what I mean? You don't want to be sitting there come March, season starts in April, and you're still scoundering, pardon me, for an extra 4 players to fill your team or whatever it is. And you're literally just waiting on people to see where they may or may not end up. I might be going over here with me mates.
Satellite's a prime example of that.
Yeah. Chatty, exactly. Macquarie get a cut, Cancel get a cut, Insurance get a cut, and the club gets the crumbs.
He's not wrong.
Absolutely. So it is what it is. It's just sort of a joke. I think it needs to be tweaked. It needs to be changed somewhat.
Can we call this a Syria and demand an investigation?
Yeah, we should.
Mate, who do you think we are?
Yeah.
Are we the Active Supporters Union now?
Oh, here we go.
Sorry, I'll leave that one alone. Some of us didn't get seats at the big boy table.
No, mate. No, I don't want a seat. Do not want a seat in that one.
I'm sorry, but I wasn't there either. I was on an interview with FIFA, so yeah.
But at the same point, wouldn't mind being a fly on the wall for those discussions, but that's a discussion for another time.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, we thank everyone for jumping in regard and getting their putting their 2 cents in and stuff like that. It's what we like. We'll ramble on about something like that all day if you guys are keen on listening to it and you guys are putting in the input. I believe there's about 15 people in here at the moment, so we do thank you guys. If you haven't liked,
it's not the biggest travesty tonight.
No. If you haven't,
biggest travesty would be me sitting here in a Melbourne Heart shirt.
Ah, very good. Thank fuck that's not on camera. Bloody, what was I going to say? Friggin', if you haven't liked or subscribed to the YouTube channel, Facebook page, Twitch, Spotify, etc., please go and do so. We muchly appreciate it. We don't expect it, and don't think that I'm sitting there telling you to go do it now. We're here for the banter, and as Benny and I love to say, we aren't journos. We only deal in facts, and
facts are it's too expensive.
Yeah, the fact is, it is way too expensive. The banter is what we're here for. So feel free, give it to us. Chatty mustn't have had as many drinks as he did last week because he's been pretty quiet. Either that, or it's because I'm wearing his freaking club merch. So, bit upset I didn't get the
shut up about it.
Yeah, he shut up pretty quick.
Working on it, Matty. I am working on it. You know how difficult they are to get?
Oh, mate, absolutely.
We went on a rant afterwards, and I went looking for Gold Coast United ones, North Queensland Fury ones.
He did.
I got a whole bunch of them on watch on eBay.
We'll quickly touch on the Jets game. Look, great game.
What was your... Okay, I'm going to go around the table here. What was your highlight of the game?
Oh, highlight of the game. I would have to say, for me, the highlight of the game would be the percentage of completed passes. That for me is probably the biggest stat out of the lot. The goals were great. Don't get me wrong. Four goals. Especially from what we've seen this season of how many goals we score and so forth. But the pass count, it must have been ridiculous. And again, I haven't looked at the stats or anything like that, and I don't 100% believe everything that the stats say on your Fox Sports and shit like that. But we knocked that ball around so well. The ball it felt like Brisbane had
everything
nothing.
finally clicked.
Brisbane was just shut out of the game. That was the biggest. And that was purely on the passing. Just
they
everything
didn't look threatening at all.
No, everything was just connecting. The 2 meter pass to the 10 meter pass to the 15 meter fucking cross ball or whatever. Everything just was perfect. It was done at the right time. There was no real sort of why did we fucking play the ball 50 meters down the wing? There was no need to do that. There was none of that. That's a great ball. There was nothing on behind us. There was nothing on in front. Play wide. Smart.
Great enigma.
Even if it didn't sort of pay off, it was still the right decision. You know what I mean? So for me, that was definitely the one. The passing accuracy and the completed passes for me was the big one. Other than that, I think Becker's words at the end.
He's press conference after the game. Fucking mint.
I think it needed to be said, and I think a lot of people just expected him to score goals. He's not a number 9.
It's not the role he's playing this year.
Well, even then, but even last year, I don't believe he was brought in to be a number 9. You know what I mean? Like he was never ever meant to be a number 9. He just last year we needed him there. But I just think the words were right. I think it was the right thing to say at the right time after a great result. The fans need to get on board. We need to get to the game. If not Sunday, it's 3 o'clock or wherever the hell the game is down at Macarthur, I think it is this week. No, Perth.
Yeah.
So we're in Perth this week.
I'll go so far as to say my highlight. You stole my thunder. My highlight of the match was Beckham Mikkeltadze's goal celebration and his post-match press conference.
Yeah.
100%.
I'm just sorry, guys.
Should I give my highlight?
Go nuts.
Yep.
My highlight is that you embarrassed Brisbane Roar so much they made a stupid decision and signed
Robbie Cruz.
Cruz. Yeah.
They must be. I saw that news today and I went, "Fuck! They must be desperate."
Mate, there's desperate, and then there's that.
Yeah.
I mean, and the same on the exact same day that bloody Melbourne Victory signed Bruce Kamau on loan for the rest of the season.
Sorry, I'm pretty sure you said Melbourne Victory. You don't mean Sloppy Seconds FC?
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, we're Sloppy Seconds FC too. It's just a different class. We're just a different class of Sloppy Seconds.
I'll tell you now. Have a look at Melbourne Victory's current lineup and tell me how many are former Adelaide United players.
Oh, there's plenty.
How many? No. I wouldn't even go that far. I'd go so far as to turn around and say how many of them are ex-Popovich from somewhere else.
Yeah, there's plenty of
Whether it be Perth or Western Sydney.
Majority of them.
It's 90% of his squad.
Yeah, they do say he's cursed carries, so
Absolutely.
That's because he carries the curses with him.
Fucking poor. Leave Popper alone. It's not his fault.
no.
No, don't get me wrong. I
It's not true.
like Popper. I like Popper.
It's not his fault.
Yeah.
No,
hang on a second. Did he or did he not sign the contract to be the coach of Melbourne Victory?
yeah, I strongly feel he's revising that contract every day with his lawyers.
It's like, what's the buyout clause again, guys?
I feel he's looking for page 13 out of fucking the 13 pages of the 12 that he's got. I feel he's,
What do we got? How many Wanderers players are ex-Jets players? How many Jets players are ex-Western Sydney Wanderers youth players?
Yeah.
Yep.
What was I going to say? Enigma there is Becker. If Becker isn't number 9, they should play him where he should be played and make Archie a number 9. The only way he improves and gets game time. This is a massive one.
He's a 9. He's a 9, but he's not a traditional 9.
Yeah, there's not much really.
He's a deeper 9.
Yeah,
a very deep 9.
Yeah. The biggest thing is Archie's an interesting one. Archie's a very, very interesting one because, and again, I'm not the biggest fan of Pappas. I just, we won't go into that story. But I feel that he's doing the right things with Archie. Do I feel that Archie should be getting more game time than what he's getting? Yes. But I think Archie is the type of player at his age where we need him off the bench. He will play his best football for the next, let's say, 2 seasons off the bench. He comes on with half an hour to go. He needs to come on with at least half an hour to go, 40 minutes to go.
100%.
He should be that first player, that first substitution in the second half. It's your
60,
front
at the 60, 65 minute mark.
your front 3, unless it's absolute chaos and he makes a change at fucking half time, but that front 3 should be going on into the second half, knowing that you've got about 15 minutes to do something. And if you don't do anything in 15 minutes, you're gone. And that's it. So if Becker scores in the first 15 minutes of the second half, the other 2 guys are sweating bullets. That's pretty much what it should be like.
I wouldn't even say that. I'd go so far as to turn around and say, if Becker is not doing his job picking up in deep and pushing out to the wider players for them to score in the first 15 minutes, then he's not doing his job properly and gets the rip. Then you go with a full out-and-out 9.
Enigma, that's a completely different story. Not one I'm going to.
100%.
But I feel the frustration.
And Matt, you said Jordan Elsey will be playing for Perth Glory against the Jets this weekend. Don't worry, if you remember his first game
Against Adelaide.
playing it against Adelaide, he didn't do the best. So, my fingers are crossed for you. As much as he was the king of the North for us, he's consistently inconsistent.
Yeah, but knowing what the Jets are like as well, he will be the first person on the fucking score sheet for Perth during that game.
That's fine, but he'll also be the first red card.
I honestly feel, again, and this is only me, I honestly think, because we've already played Perth once this season, I feel that I feel he's going to be eligible to play this game. I think.
Really?
I think they will.
No, he'll be eligible.
No, I think they'll cull him. I think the Jets will be like, no.
I don't think Zads will play him on the basis that he's too fresh in there, and the Jets know him too well, so that could be seen as a liability.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
That's true, yeah.
It's an interesting factor that it's sort of the first game he can play, sort of thing, and it's the Jets. So
against us,
I just don't. Yeah, I don't think he'll play. I don't think he'll play.
That's when you throw caution to the wind, and if he does play, you bring on Manabu Saito against him because he's got absolutely no idea what he's going to pull.
Or he'll be on the bench. Like I think he'll be on the bench. They don't have enough defenders to not have him on the bench. I think he'll be.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't.
I mean, that's obvious if they've just signed Elsie.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
right.
they'll run half a Jets backline and him and Katrumbas.
True story. I'm not fair. What do we got there?
You're not wrong, Mary. And again, I've been very much on the Hoffy train for a long time now. I still do think that he is there and can do a fucking job. And he did his job very well. He did 90 minutes worth of a very good fucking job over the weekend. He didn't look out of place at all.
Was there anyone else who predicted a double red in the MacArthur Adelaide game 2 weeks ago?
No.
Did you
No,
call
I
that?
did.
What?
I didn't.
I didn't call it on the live stream, but I knew there was going to be a red card for us.
Oh, well.
I mean, it has been every other week, so might as well.
Zads is a good up-and-coming coach. I watched his A-League All Access the other day. I watched about 4 or 5 of them the other day, late last week.
I love the passion that guy shows, but Christ, how much does he look like that guy at 3 a.m. in the corner of a club just chomping at the bit because he's just done one too many lines?
Like I said, he is somebody, like the way he presents himself, the way that he swears, the way he gives his team talk, the way that he is not somebody I would like to meet in a dark alley.
Yeah, but
Like a dark alley. I wouldn't want to meet him in broad daylight next to a cop shop.
Yeah, he'd smack the fuck out of you.
Exactly.
you know what he needs? He needs a pair of fucking socks. Seriously, mate. Fucking wear some socks with those fucking
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I don't know how you do it. Mate, don't stop being such a tight ass and give your wife's fucking bloody slim fucking socks or whatever that just go around the sole of your feet back to her and get your fucking own. For fuck's sake. It's atrocious.
Yeah, he shows good passion, and no, I do agree with that. He's a young up and coming coach.
Yeah, Brenny, feel free. If you want to buy me a new shirt for my birthday, it'd be great. Can't remember the last time you bought me something for my birthday.
So he's nearly a month late.
That should be right.
So, speaking of the weekend, I'm
Yes.
obviously sure you guys have all caught the brutal injury to One Day.
One day, yeah.
Oh,
I caught it
final
after
one.
and went, what the fuck is going on?
It was horrendous.
I saw it the next day in the news. Like, I actually got to see a photo and a video of what and how.
What was horrendous? The tackle, the whole situation,
No,
or
just
the fact that it took half an hour for an ambulance to come to the ground when the Royal Melbourne's fucking not even 500 metres down the road. I'm very confused.
It's a couple of K, right?
From what I'm aware, so there's a couple of things there. So the tackle was partially One Day's fault.
Yeah.
You can see he's stuck out the leg. It's been collected, snap. And what was horrible was the sound.
Oh yeah.
And the whole situation was just it. Look, I've been on the field as a referee, and I've watched player or a kid snap a bone clean, and had to wait around for the ambulance with him, and it's a horrible experience.
Happened to a bloke I know. Yeah. Oh wait, that was me.
So it's a very uneasy, uncomfortable situation to be in at the best of times.
Yeah.
Luckily, both times that I've had to wait for an ambulance, I've been able to call the game. All right. Yeah. So either I've abandoned or I've been able to go, right, games hasn't been played enough. We're just going to forfeit and reschedule at a later date. In that situation, the fact that the guys had to hang around for half an hour, right? And Harvey and One Day are best mates.
Well, yeah,
You know,
they're Spanish.
So not just that, but their whole families just get together. Like they've got young kids around the same age, so they're constantly, at the park and Bowden here, letting the kids run around the playground. I got to meet them quite a few times, and even on the way trips, the boys will go away and do something special. Just a couple of them. For a couple of hours and then come back to the group, and it's their chance to experience Australia while they're here playing football. They're meeting holidays, so got no qualms to that. But watching Harvey lose his shit, literally and figuratively, that crushed me because I knew it would absolutely destroy him. And the hardest part watching, and even brought tears to my eyes, was when he was on the phone. I knew exactly who he was on the phone to, and it would have to have been One Day's wife.
For sure.
Just saying, he's okay, I'm keeping an eye on him. And they found out today, that apparently, or Ryan Kiddo had a press conference.
Yeah.
And while he's still on the ground, injured, he's turned around to the trainers and said, I'm okay. I'm waiting for the ambulance. Go check on Harvey.
Yeah.
That's the sort of bloke One Day is. So, we the community, and especially Red Army committee, have thrown our full support behind One Day. If he needs anything, all he needs to do is sing out and call. And what was actually lovely is he responded to it today and said, thank you so much. And it was really heartfelt.
It's an interesting one, the whole frigging ambulance thing. So I know the reason behind it, and that's purely Victoria changed their laws and changed their ruling due to COVID. Therefore, not
only that, but the ambulance or lack of ambulance crisis in Victoria is fucked.
Paramount. Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. It's a major sport.
It just compounds the issue.
Yeah, but that's
now,
what it is.
I know they had medical professionals there. Okay, these guys are higher qualified than an ambulance, and
Correct.
We're not saying that he didn't receive proper medical care during that period of time. We're not denying that. What the issue is, though,
transport.
It's transporting him to the right facility so they can start the operation, get him fixed, and get him on the process for recovery. The fact that took 20 minutes in total was a nightmare. I saw Enigma ask me, this injury subject was protocol in SA if a player gets horribly leg injury in a game. So we normally have either St. John ambulance or we will have an ambulance SA ambulance on standby all High Marsh games. For grassroots and that, no, we don't. We had a horrific issue in a semi-final for our State League 1 last year where a goalkeeper basically shattered his leg. And that game got delayed for an hour and a half, waiting for the medical treatment to be done and basically getting him ready to go to be able to get loaded onto a stretcher. It was absolutely horrific. So, we have a fair bit of issues at the moment with ambulances and ramping and hospital availability. I think it seems to be the way across the country. But as a professional sport, anyone who tries and argues, but they've done this and they've done that, tell me honestly, would that have happened in an AFL or NRL game?
Yeah, definitely not.
No, it wouldn't have.
Definitely not.
So why is it okay for ours?
Yeah, exactly.
It's because it's a code we get treated as second-class citizens, but.
And Jitte threw down to the point where League had to respond and keep up, and Jitte's like, "That's great. It's still bullshit."
Yeah, 100%, and I'm very much the same as well. It's and I see it every second week watching a Jets game. Always in the southern corner, there's always that precariously placed fucking ambulance near the fucking tunnel, waiting, ready to go for something if it ever should eventuate.
And that's exactly right. And it always.
I mean, the other side of the coin is that in your position, Robbie, I would assume that you would have called that game. I think I seen you on Twitter say, "Is anyone surprised as to why that game wasn't called?"
Absolutely. Right. So
The difference is that you don't have a multi-million-dollar broadcasting deal over your head telling you not to make that call.
However, I do have the law of the game.
Correct. But I'm understanding of that. And that's why I sort of had the thought of, I think the referee does and would normally have called it, but he's looking up the box he's looking up at the box at the FA and at Channel 10/Paramount CEO who's sitting there shaking their head going, no, don't you dare.
No, Greg O'Rourke even came down onto the pitch.
Yeah.
All right, so he was there. He was the match commissioner was there, basically going, okay, let's see how this goes. Let's be honest with you. If that ambulance was going to take him 45 minutes just to arrive to the stadium, guaranteeing you that he would have abandoned that game. Now, at the time of the injury, it was the 66th or 67th minute. So the 75% law rules that game would have been completed as a 3-2 end. Yeah. Anything less than that period of time, then you're always coming back to replay the game. But look, for me, I was in between two minds because I agree with the referee. Yes, the game should have continued.
Yeah.
However, I also looked at the mentality of United after that injury happened.
They dropped their heads and they conceded a goal.
We were two different teams, man.
Yeah,
we were so exhausted.
You pulled the opposite of a Denmark.
But you know what? I don't blame the players, man.
Oh no, I would not.
I don't blame the players one bit. And I saw some disgusting tweets in regards to people losing their bets. And I was like, you are the most horrible human being I think I've ever met in my life.
I think there just needs to be a standard there, especially at the professional level, where it needs to be as simple as, is this going to affect both sides, not one side. It's going to affect both of them, but how badly is this going to affect the sides? If they sit there for 20 minutes, you know what I mean? And then we give them 5 minutes to prepare and stuff like that. And then we take into the consideration the team that's suffered the injury. You know what I mean? They're not only thinking, holy shit, they're thinking of their teammate, they're thinking of, the teammates said family and everything else, and especially someone like Spanish import and stuff like that, where a lot of his family are overseas, so his mum and dad are, probably all overseas and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's going to take a massive toll.
Let's look at the massive elephant in the room. The guy's 36, man.
That's an injury that most people generally don't come back from, especially late in that age.
Well, the biggest one for me in regards to that is I found his post where it states, I'll try and quickly get through this. It just says, firstly, I want to thank the doctors and nurses at the Alfred Hospital for their care during my time since the accident. Everyone has been amazing. Sunday was a very difficult moment for my family and I, but the support I have received from people around the world has been incredible, and I cannot thank everyone enough. I also want to thank all the people at Adelaide United for their love as well, because it has been very comforting for me as I go through this situation. The biggest one for me in this is the final bit he says here, which fucking amazes me. It sort of puts into perspective of how bad it is, right? Because this is a week on, pretty well, getting close to. And he says, I hope to start my recovery and get back to Adelaide as soon as possible. So he's still here.
I figured he'd still be here in Melbourne.
So he's still in Melbourne. So if it was a basic break, you know what I mean, they could transport him elevated and shit. It happens.
Yeah, trying to lose him 48 hours.
Yeah, it happens. So, but it must be pretty bad to the point where obviously the doctors aren't going to clear him to fly or get choppered or whatever. Back to Adelaide, and then to cheer the club on for the rest of the season. The only thing missing out of that, I think, was, I hope to be back playing for you soon, one day. Would have been fantastic. For me, would have been a little cheeky.
Josh, have you ever thought about being a comedian? Jesus Christ.
I could be.
Because if you have time.
No, yeah, thanks, mate.
That was that joke of the night.
I was going to say, I was looking for me crickets button. I haven't got one. I wanted to get one of those. But no, in all seriousness, friggin', hopefully he comes back from it and he can get back to football for at least one last hurrah. Because as you said, he'll be 36 years of age, solid break. It could be catastrophic.
I had a chat with the committee. What was it, Monday night? I was waiting to see what the results from the surgery first.
Yeah.
We didn't want to go too gun-ho too early just in case.
Yeah.
But my main thing is, he's been a pillar of our team in the last 2 years. What he doesn't do on the pitch everything he does on the pitch and even off the pitch is phenomenal. He is such a leader and inspiration to our team. So we, on the 28th minute on Saturday night, will be doing a moment of applause, thanking him just in case.
Yeah.
But most of all, to let him know that we are all thinking of him. So, yeah.
Fingers crossed he can. Let's fingers crossed he can get to the game.
I hope he pulls on a red shirt again.
Fingers crossed he can get to the game on Saturday for it. Hopefully he gets the all clear to fly home, and I'm sure Adelaide will do whatever they can to sort of put him in a friggin' limousine and fucking strap him up and get him to the game and whatever protocols and that they need to sort of sit him in a booth or something like that to cheer him on. At the end of the day, I'm sure he'll want to be around all his friends and his family and teammates as much as possible, because at the end of the day I couldn't think of anything worse. I'm lucky enough that
it's more a morale thing than anything else.
I'm lucky. I've never really had to go through a major injury like that in my career, and I've watched players mates go through major injuries like that, and it's just devastating. It just freaking they feel helpless because if we lose, obviously they feel like it's their fault. They've suffered. It's clearly not fucking shit, but they feel that fucking if he hadn't bothered going in for that tackle or whatever, or what ifs. Yeah, that's it. It's what ifs. It is. It's all those what ifs. If I didn't do it, or whatever it is, or if I'd come back from injury a week earlier, fucking I might have made a difference. Whatever. Fingers crossed he recovers from it is the main one, and he recovers from it fully. There's nothing worse. Yep. You don't want to be sort of.
It's potentially career-ending for him.
Well, that's the thing. It's one of those ones where you just don't know how early is too early to come back. To start running again and training, and he's going to have that fear in his mind the whole time of when he comes back, and the doctors sort of give him the okay to run and get into contact again. He'll be freaking out every time he goes in for a ball and shit like that.
It's a mental thing.
Every little contact with his teammates and that, knowing that they're not going to fucking hurt me, but anything could happen there. So good luck to him, and hopefully he fully recovers from it. But we've been going on nearly an hour and a half. Didn't even get onto the transfer market situation, so we're going to leave that for next week. So if you guys,
to be brutally honest, what is there to tell? What is there to say? Suter is now is the biggest Australian transfer in history.
Oh, that's the least. That's the least of the worries.
Job done.
Least of the worries, mate.
And it's about time you're going to move to a Prem.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know. I've heard a lot about it. We won't go too much into it tonight, because we will dive into that next week, because at the end of the day, we not only have the highest paid Aussie now in the Premier League, but we also have a new record-breaking footballer in the English Premier League who broke the record today, beating Grealish out of top spot there. 22-year-old from Argentina, from Benfica. He's going to be an absolute superstar. Yeah. He's an absolute weapon. Signed for Chelsea.
Chelsea? Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. I'm not going to go pronouncing his name and shit, because as I said, we'll dive into that next week. But he's now the new record holder, 120 million or something like that. Chelsea
needs to go through an Argentinian language course before he goes to pronounce his name next week.
That's right. No, and I'm pretty good with my names. The Portuguese helps. So we'll dive into that a bit next week. But yeah, as I said, look, good on Souter for breaking the record. It's a great thing. But the biggest question for me is, how much game time is he going to get? Leicester in an absolute shit fight at the moment. They're struggling big time then they're going to struggle big time to stay afloat. So, yeah. Look, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. He's the key. He was for Stoke. They bought him. They bought him into Stoke, and he saved their ass on countless times. So fingers crossed he can come in and do the same thing for Leicester if he's given the chance.
And they'll just replace him with old mate who scored 2 own goals in the same game the other week.
Can we'll quickly touch on before we go away the little loan deal, which I just thought was absolutely fucking ludicrous. So we talk about just miraculous loan deals and signings and shit like that. Can we talk about Nottingham Forest? Now,
yeah, I know where you go with this.
Now, don't quote me on this because I haven't. Again, I was going to look into it, and I'm glad we're going to go into it next week, so I can look into it a lot further. But I'm almost certain that they signed friggin' 2 keepers at the start of the year to replace, obviously, their shit keeper who got them up into the Premier League. Anyway, I won't go into that. Dropped him to 3rd to get him out of trouble, Henderson and so forth. And then they go in the January transfer window and not only sign on loan an absolute beast of a goalkeeper, a 2-time Champions League winning goalkeeper, Mr. Alves, what the fuck are you doing? Like, how the fuck? Like, all I want is to be a little fly in that meeting. What the fuck have they sold him? This is a team that has bought 24 fucking players this year into that squad. Like, it blew my mind. I seen it, and I fucking deleted. Like, I got out of Facebook, and then I fucking refreshed Facebook, and then I deleted it again, and I refreshed it again. This is fucking bullshit. This can't be right. I then because it was on Optus Sports or something, I think, fuck, this is a G-up. It's not April Fool's, it's February. It's not April 1st, it's fucking February 1st. What the fuck is this? And then I went back into their actual Nottingham Forest friggin' Facebook page, and fucking lo and behold, there it was. I was like, what the fuck? Couldn't believe it. Sure. Like, is that not one of the friggin' bizarrest friggin' loan deals you've seen in world football?
I've seen some crackers over the years, but fucking there's not many that sort of fucking.
There's nothing that competes to that. That's.
Look, there's cracker deals and then there's crackhead deals, and that's Premier League.
That's a crackhead deal, that one.
Must love the coke or something. It's the only way they've got him into that club. Like,
I tell you what, PSG must still be subsidising 95% of his wage. Because what else?
You'd have to.
Because why else? And then there was the whole will they, won't they with Jonjo Shelby as well. You know, up until friggin' late yesterday afternoon, he was going to fucking Turkey.
Oh, mate.
You know what they remind me of at the moment? They remind me of that meme with the really crazed up goof going, "I'll fucking do it again."
Yeah, like there's been some like this transfer window. There's been some absolute crackers.
I'm look, as a Chelsea fan, I'm still trying to figure out what the fuck is going on with our club.
Yeah.
Like anytime I start seeing, okay, there's a problem here, there's a problem there. They go, oh, we're just going to buy another player. I'm like, hang on a second, that's not going to fix the problem. That's not going to make it worse.
I don't know. As I said,
which one did we see the Spurs one? You're referring to the Pedro Porro loan from Sporting Lisbon with the obligation to buy in the next window at like 40 million.
I did see that one. Yes.
Yeah. Look, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. That's a completely different story, and we'll get into that.
I think
anything. Yeah.
I think the cracker for me this window. Sorry. Oh no, not even the window. Probably deadline day. The cracker for me is Jorginho from Chelsea to Arsenal for like 12 million.
That's the cracker, right?
That's a cracker for me.
Right, off the top of your heads, this is what we're going to end it, right? And we thank everyone for. I just want to thank everyone for jumping in tonight on the podcast. Robbie, especially, for jumping in at the time of need, last minute. Thanks heaps, champ.
You're welcome. I was halfway through an ice block.
Oh, I love it. Down that pretty quick. Must be used to it. Bloody yeah, thanks. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. We thank you guys for jumping in. Again, if you haven't liked the Facebook page or the YouTube channels, Twitch channel, Spotify, and so forth, we muchly appreciate it. Please do. It'd be muchly appreciated. As I said, Barnsley FC, the Bulldogs, as I'm repping their shirt right now, be sure to go over and like their Facebook page. If you guys know anyone at a football club that have any shirts lying around from last year or the year before or whatever it is, not doing anything, happy to wear it on stream and promote the club and stuff like that. At the end of the day, even if you don't live in the sort of area, but you get on the Facebook page, you like the shit, you get to see what's going on in the club and how their senior teams and stuff like that are going. It's it's pretty decent. Right, final thought, final fucking bit, final question between you guys and me. Out of the transfers or signings you've seen this window, what is your favourite? So what's your favourite signing? And what is the one signing where you sort of feel sorry for them? Where you've sort of seen it and you've gone, oh, really? Maybe? Why'd you do that? Benny, what do you think, mate?
I can start with the last one first.
So the one you sort of, what the fuck?
Really fucking, why did they do that? Which is basically my response to every single transfer that Birmingham City have made in this window.
Mm-hmm.
That's an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
As for my fuck yeah one, I mean, it's sort of hard. I am biased towards the Harry Soodle one.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's a hard one. For the fuck yeah one, I'll probably settle on Jorginho from Chelsea to Arsenal.
Right.
Or the whole shitstorm surrounding Madaka to Chelsea, will he, won't they, to Arsenal, saying that yes, he'd love to go to Arsenal, wants to go to Arsenal, and then backflips at the last minute goes to Chelsea.
Mm. Right, Robbie?
Yeah.
My hell yeah moment has to be sort of, being able to see that defending brick Titanic moment from the World Cup now being played on the EPL stage every week. It's going to be glorious. My what the hell is the Enzo move? 121 mil. At what point do we say, is that almost putting too much pressure on a player to perform? If you're getting paid $121 million to play a game and you don't perform 1 week, the amount of pressure on that has got to be absolutely immense, to the point where you're probably spending half that fee on counselling.
Yep.
I just do Cristiano Ronaldo right now too.
It just seems like a ludicrous amount of money. Look, hey, I'm hoping it's worth it, but also look at it this way: we've spent close to $200 million in this transfer window.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, just over 200,000.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there going, we're chucking money at a bullet wound.
Yep.
I mean, to be fair, I'll cut back in as well. The other probably fuck yeah one for me, it's a bit left of field, but Natasha Dowie's move from Reading to Liverpool women.
Yeah.
Good one.
Ex Victory captain.
So, as of literally 2 minutes, not fucking 40 seconds ago, because it's only just come across the desk, I've now got 2 what the fuck moments.
Breaking news off the press.
Hot off the fucking press.
Hot off the press. The The one for me, the good one, which I think, fuck yeah, I think it's going to be a great move, I think is Anthony Gordon. Everton to Newcastle.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be an absolute weapon. And the fact that friggin' he absolutely tore Newcastle to shreds vocally, in a massive bust up between fucking him and fucking who was it? I can't remember off the top of my head, but fucking one of the Newcastle boys. And then they still sign him on top of that as if, fuck yes, aggression, that's what we want, happy days. I think it's a good signing, and I think we'll see him do good things at Newcastle with their charge to the FA Cup final, obviously, and up towards the Premier League title. So for me, that's the big one at this point. Again, we'll probably reassess this next week, as I'm sure there'll be plenty of sort of last minute deadline day deals and stuff like that. Yeah. The two what the fuck moments. Now, the first one, the original one I had, wasn't a player. It's the career-ending move of fucking Sean Dyche to Everton.
Yes.
I sort of, again, I'm a diehard Liverpool fan. Everton is my nemesis, and so I would never wish anybody to go to Everton, right? And that's probably I didn't even think of that, but fucking obviously, Gordon going from Everton to Newcastle is great because it fucks him off from there. But that didn't even come to my mind. But Dyche going to Everton, I have no idea how he is going to pull a rabbit out of his hat, and he an absolute godsend at Burnley and shit like that. But I was like, I sort of seen it and just went, really? That's what you've been waiting for? You could have gone anywhere, and you've gone to that shithole. Like fucking bloody Frank Lampard couldn't even fucking dig the shit out of there. Like there's no, I don't know what he's going to try and do there. I guess the biggest one will be the money. It's how much money they will give him to rejuvenate that team because they need a lot of help. Everton is just a shit show at the moment.
That's prepping for championship. That is.
I know. That's. Yeah. Well, I was going to say
that is a prepping for the championship move.
I think it's definitely. Yeah. Definitely one of the ones.
Check out Luke Sports. Check out Luke Sports Gaming. In the chat.
What, Dwight York, or that Chelsea are fucking idiots and can't submit the right paperwork 3 times?
Transfer documents 3 times.
In the words of the Simpsons, a little from column A and a little from column B.
Hey, I'm going to throw another one in here as well that I just see. A good what the fuck?
I bet
what the fuck?
I bet you're about to steal me fucking thunder. Go on.
Nah, you say yours.
No, right, I'll say it just in case it is yours.
Say yours.
So the new one is, and it's only just come hot off the press 8 minutes ago.
No, it's not, okay, my one's not hot off the press, so...
Okay. Well, I'll finish this one. Benny was talking about him before, so his ears must have been burning because it was literally 6 minutes ago out of Newcastle. And it ties into my 20... This could be the fucking record of the fucking world football history of how many fucking signings you can sign at a club in 1 year from promotion from Championship to fucking Premier League. Ladies and gentlemen, Tottenham are fucking still going to struggle. No,
trouble.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest have done it again. They've dipped their toes into the market, and ladies and gentlemen, they've pulled a bald rabbit out of the fucking hat. John Joe Shelvey is on his way to save Nottingham Forest from fucking relegation.
Oh wow!
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yes, you heard that correctly. An absolute what the fuck moment. You don't get much bigger than that. John Joe Shelvey, deadline day. Benny was talking to him going to fucking Turkey. Fuck, he scratched that to the shit house. He's like, fuck that. I'm going to go down the road. I'm sure all he's wanted to do in life is fucking meet the great fucking Alves and get a photo and have a few pints with him and shit after a game. And he's gone, fuck it. Where's the transfer paper?
This is my chance.
Sign me up. And fucking away he goes. So, a lot of what the fuck moments there in that one. Can't believe they've signed him. Can't believe fucking they've still found money to fucking spend anything, another dime on somebody.
Oh, they're fucked. I'd love to see their financial fair play.
And surely, the question will be, when they go down,
when they go down, there's going to be a fucking fire sale because they have to.
No, the question is, the biggest question out of that is when they go down, do they beat this year's record on signings? Because they're going to lose all those players and have to re-sign another whole squad. So can they beat this year's transfer fucking numbers with next year if they go down? Because
I dare say that 98% of those players that have signed in the past 12 months for them will be on relegation clauses.
Mate.
They'd have to be.
Have to be.
Oh yeah.
You're not going to be. You're not going to be able to shell out that sort of money playing in
without
in,
the club
in
having a
lower.
way to get them off the books.
Yeah, and
No. I mean, you look at Wrexham, perfect example. That shows you right there as to the difference between the leagues. I mean, we're talking hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes, my other very fuck yeah moment, good one. Memphis Depay from Barcelona to Atletico Madrid for 2.6 million. Fucking bargain.
Yeah.
There was another one. We'll talk about it next week. But there was
bargain.
one of them. There was another...
That shows you how desperate Barcelona are because they are that far in fucking crippling debt,
mate. There was
that they are willing to let Depay go for 2.6 million.
Oh no, there was one better than that, and I can't remember if it was Barcelona or something like. It was the big name letting some decent player go for $1 million. And I'll find it and we'll talk about it next week. But yeah, it was something crazy. It was a big name. I think it might have been from Bayern. I think fucking they let him go for $1 million or some shit. But anyway, we'll talk about that next week. Yeah, but as I said, friggin' that should give you a week anyway, guys, in the chat to get your thoughts of who some of your top signings are and shit like that for next week. That's pretty much what next week's show is going to be. Topic will be, we'll touch on the Perth game and the other A-League fixtures and so forth that happened and everything else around the game in world sport. Big shout out to the Aussies, as we said, Saudi for the transfer. Moy on the score sheet and an assist at Celtic, absolute killing it over there, and seems to have fucking the Celtic boys fucking going absolutely mental for the Aussie contingents there now. I think it was Rolls from Hearts. Hearts, absolute friggin' screamer on the baseline there. Should have been a goal, and he fucking saved their ass.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen that.
Absolute chaos. And for Qual and who else was there? The other fucker. The three of the four boys anyway at Hearts getting on the pitch.
Cammy Devlin.
Devlin was there as well, yeah. So all the boys getting on the pitch at the same time, playing at the same time together. Great to see for the Aussies in getting plenty of football in overseas and stuff like that. Good to see. So other than that, guys, yeah, thanks for Benny for jumping in. Again, as always, big shout out to Robbie, as we mentioned. Be sure, as I said, Robbie's part of the one of the main guys there of the Red Army. Go over and like their Facebook page and so forth. Give them a like. As I said, everyone's equal, and we support everybody, and there shouldn't be sort of any real rifts between teams and shit like that, except for game day and for the 90 minutes that it's on. Other than that, freaking have a beer with your supporters and so forth. Benny Jorgensen, if you're in the chat, mate, still waiting for that shirt. Make sure you get me size right. 2XL. It's because I'm massive. And we'll wear that in 2 weeks when the Jets play Western United up here. Just make sure friggin' the diamond is on the back, and I'll get him to sign it on game day because he wouldn't want to come over and sign a t-shirt. And anyone else who friggin', as I said, has shirts lying around, club shirts and shit like that. I believe Robbie said something last week about a Craig Goodwin shirt. So we'll see what happens there. I do believe that. I have to go back and replay that just to confirm that was what's happening. But yeah, as I say, guys, enjoy your football, whatever you're watching over the weekend, whether it be local, international, whatever. And we'll catch you guys next week for another episode of the Smashing Crossbar podcast. And yeah, take it easy, guys. Thanking you for watching. See you guys.
Bye.
We hate Coast Scum.